Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. And now in 2021, I'm also the creator of CirclingSpace.com, an online place where we can come and share more authentic communication and connection. So I hope you'll come check that out and interact with me live at CirclingSpace.com. Welcome to your energy forecast for March 2021. Now, all I wanted to say is, whew, we made it through February. That was one intense month. So a lot of the energy in March is looking at how do we integrate? How do we make the most of these incredible downloads and upgrades that were happening in February? Because when these things happen, our body needs time to catch up. And if you're finding that you're having any kind of funky symptoms, it might just be a healing crisis, which, while it doesn't seem like much fun, is actually a good thing because it means your body's upgrading to a whole new ascended energy, a more expanded energy, and that's happening for a lot of us. So let's talk about March, shall we? I was given a lot of dual energies in the first and second half of the month. Now that happens a lot, but in March it seems particularly pronounced. We've got a lot of need for integration and rest, especially after the intense February that we had in the first half of March. But then in the second half, we have the Equinox, we have Aries energy coming in. We've just got a lot of fire. We've got some squares happening. Things are happening that are causing fire, wake up, renewal. In the northern hemisphere, it's spring. So you can expect this month to have like two personalities. And I want you to really use the download time because sometimes when you come off something really intense, it's hard to relax. But that's exactly when you need to relax. And that's the first message I got about March, is that we really need some downtime at the very beginning of March. In fact, it starts from the Virgo full moon. And I'm going to start this month on the 27th of February, just 2 days, because we have the 28th of February. It's a very short month, just 2 days before we begin on the 1st. I'm going to start it on the 27th. I'm only going to touch lightly on the full moon at the end of March so that I can go over that in more detail in the next energy forecast, because I'd like to keep this in a very usable size. So let's talk about the themes. I give you 3 themes. Then we look at 7 or 8 dates in the month for particular astrological events. And then I'm going to draw 2 goddess cards. I've got them right here. One for the first half of the month and one for the second half of the month. And we'll see if they agree with what I'm recommending or if they actually try to balance that out. Okay, so the first theme for the month I've already mentioned is integrating these new downloads and upgrades. Downloads and upgrades. There was so much going on with all that Aquarian energy. And think of it like taking Shavasana at the end of a yoga class if you're a yogi. If you're not a yogi, think about it as if you're taking a rest after working a couple double shifts, right, of any kind. It is time for us to give our body a chance to integrate what happened in February. If you're not familiar with what happened in February, you can watch my February 2021 forecast, but there were just a lot of Aquarian energy. And there was also the first of 3 exact squares that are happening between Saturn and Uranus. So again, there's that clash, 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 which is another energy. We've got the old and the new clashing over and over again throughout this year. We have a loose square between these two all year long and beyond, actually. So we need to integrate this upgrade energy and this sort of squaring energy that was like batting it out. We need to feel into the new balance that we've found between the old and the new, between the structured and the free, between the routine and the wild. You get what I'm talking about? So give yourself some time for that. The second theme is that we're expanding our capacity to love. I don't mean this romantically, although Venus has some cool movements in the month, and there's definitely some calls to romantic love in March, which isn't too unusual because, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, again, where I am, spring brings that out in all animals, including the spiritual animals, the humans that we are, right? So spring brings that out. We are physical beings. But what I'm really talking about here is expanding the capacity to love in an Aquarian and Pisces way. This expanded love of acceptance of who we each are, allowing ourselves to come together in a way that is not you versus me, but always you're a part of me. I can see you're a mirror of me. That sort of energy that comes from the Aquarian energy. So that's going to be big. And then the third theme is trusting and listening to your needs and your longings. Now, your needs are more related to your root chakra. Those are basic. So I really want you to do that. But we also have your longings starting in the sacral, and then it moves into the solar with the fire. But it's really, what do we want? What are our desires? Okay, so this is all about that aspect of the lower chakras, your needs and your longings. Can you listen to them more closely in March? So those are the three themes, and let's look at the dates. The first date actually happens to be my birthday, which is February 27th, and it is a full moon in Virgo at 17 minutes after midnight Pacific. So it's going to pretty much be in the 27th, just about anywhere in the world. But adjust for your time zone, okay? This energy, I want you to feel into what a Virgo full moon is. First, I just want to say you can go back 6 months to the Virgo new moon of August 18, 2020. If there was something going on for you in the middle of August, and especially if you made an intentional ritual for that new moon in Virgo, then check to see if it's culminated at this point. Full moons are when we pick the fruit. Full moons are when we celebrate the harvest, whatever that harvest is. Even if it's in the middle of winter, we're talking about a spiritual harvest, right? So what was it that you maybe were looking at on the 18th of August? What were you looking at in the middle of, there's also, you can go back 2 weeks, so it would be the middle of February. Were you setting any intentions there? Then let's talk about this Virgo Pisces axis. It's such a powerful axis. When you have the full moon in Virgo, you have Pisces sun. And these two are so incredible together. They're both mutable signs. And after all the fixed energy of January, Taurus and Aquarius, and there was a lot of duking it out. There was a lot of energy of like fix, fix, fix. Now we're talking about this beautiful full moon where both, although they're very opposite, Virgo and Pisces, of course, all the pairs like that are opposite in their qualities. And Pisces and Virgo are very opposite in a beautiful way. They are mutable. They communicate well and they change well. And we need that right now. We need all that stuff that kind of hit us in the face or anywhere else in February to have a place to land. This is the time. So not only should you look back at August 18th, but look back over most of February, particularly around that new moon in the middle of the month, and see what you need to celebrate now. Okay, celebrate something. And in particular, Piscean themes and Virgo themes, which when you put the two together, Virgo is about body, healing, detail, logic, doing it right, the how-tos of doing it, the real world, the physical. It's an earth sign. Can you feel that? And Pisces is the highest sign. It's all about the spiritual. It's all about the big picture. It relates to everything. It's big-hearted. It's sensitive. It's caring. It's emotional, whereas Virgo will go more for the logic. Can you feel how well that if they don't make each other wrong, they actually dovetail? They're like two parts of one pie, and you want to bring them together here and celebrate anything that you've done spiritually in the real world. Can you feel that? or anything that you're doing that's detailed and very real world, that you're bringing more faith to, that you're bringing more love to, that you're serving more people with. That is the feeling of Pisces and Virgo. The detail and the big picture, the logic and the emotions, the spiritual and the physical world. Can you feel that? So anything you can celebrate in this full moon around that, do that. The limited and the unlimited, the tangible and the intangible, the dreams versus the reality, you get the picture. The importance here is from this full moon is asking for some downtime. But because it's a Virgo moon, it's also saying, can you understand the effectiveness of downtime? Can you understand? Like, you're going to have to talk to the Virgo part of you, especially if you have a Virgo moon or a Virgo sun, but especially a Virgo moon that wants to just be super efficient and wants to go, go, go. And you're going to need to talk to this part and say, hey, if we rest for a while here, if we really rest, or we slow down, or we do things in a more delicious way for our body, how much more effective will that be in the long run? Okay, that's the question. How can I do something here that will make everything more effective in the long run? So give yourself some downtime, and in particular, please integrate the energies of February. They were so intense. Give yourself a chance to do that. That's February 27th, and the next date is March 4th that I've chosen to talk about Mercury conjunct Jupiter. I just never ignore a conjunct Jupiter, or sometimes I do, but not very often. Jupiter is such a powerful, benevolent, lucky planet, and Mercury came out of retrograde the 20th, 21st of February. So we're now going direct with Mercury, and it's conjunct with Jupiter. This is going to allow your thoughts and communication, especially about really big things, to have more fortune, more influence, more, just really be aware of the expanded opportunity you have here around self-expression, especially around things spiritual, which is Jupiter, things around beliefs, things around learning, things about travel, because Jupiter's travel. And take that opportunity to really feel, what does it feel like when my thoughts, because Mercury is about thoughts and also about your communication, when my thoughts and my communication, because thoughts are really your communication to yourself, get really big and expanded with Jupiter, what do they look like, and how do I share those in a tangible way? You might even use some of the residue energy of that Virgo new moon to celebrate making it very real world. Can you write something? We can publish so easily nowadays. Can you publish a blog about something around these lines? Our next date is March 13th. That's the new moon in Pisces at 2:21 a.m. Pacific. New moons are new beginnings. New moons are when you set your intentions. What Piscean intentions can you set? Anything about spirituality, anything about loving self and other, and being more easygoing and going with the flow like the Pisces fish. Those would all be really, really good here. If you have a spiritual business, you can also put out some intentions around your business and being more influential and service-oriented in your business throughout the world. Also, Venus is conjunct Neptune at this time. Venus is about love and also about money, because Venus is ruled, Venus rules Taurus. Taurus, this money issue tends to come in. Pleasure, money, physical world quality, physical world luxury is connected to Venus. You can just feel it when you think of Venus coming up in the coming out of the sea in the clamshell. It's just got that sense, right? So Neptune is big and it can be very expansive. So my first interpretation of this is, where can you expand, or how, because the Virgo energy is still kind of being in residue, how and where can you expand your capacity for love, for abundance, for pleasure, for luxury, for real world beauty, and good things. And my guides kind of were just telling me right there, it's not so much about the how, because we're well past the Virgo energy of the moon at that point. Yeah, it's more about the Neptune energy, which is really not the how. Can you just get curious about what would it look like for me to expand my capacity to receive? The Venus energy is the receptive energy, the feminine energy of receiving. How can you expand your capacity to receive? So the Pisces new moon would be also a really good new moon to hold a ritual where you actually open up. You say, I'm expanding, I'm desiring, I'm allowing my capacity to receive in these areas to grow. Love, money, good things, pleasure. I mean, those are really good things, right? So set some intentions at the new moon. March 15th is the next date when Mercury enters Pisces. I just want you to be aware you can go into a very playful, dreamlike, expansive, aware, caring energy at that time, and you can communicate then from that place. You can think that way more to yourself with more compassion, more healing, more understanding, more wisdom, and you can also share it with others. Enjoy that, because once we get into the Aries energy at the last third of the month, it starts to get a lot fierier. So use that March 15th, Mercury entering Pisces, to really anchor that I can communicate and think in a more Pisces way. I can do it more from spirit, more from understanding, more from wisdom. March 20 is the equinox. So in the northern hemisphere where I am, it's really hard for me to not think. I live in cycles. I really do. I'm very feminine that way. So it's hard for me to not think of it as the spring equinox. I really do. But I understand that it isn't. It is the fall equinox for those of you in the southern hemisphere. So adjust accordingly if I'm a little biased on this. But I do feel it's so perfect when the sun is entering Aries at the same time that we're going into spring equinox, because Aries is fire, it's go for it, it's action, it's awakening. It's like literally all the plants and things that start taking action, and the bees start buzzing and everything starts moving with that spring energy. And it's a bit of a go light. Like it's a go light. Like think of the 20th as, okay, I can go. But because there can be too much fire, I want you to be aware of opening your heart and tempering any solar fiery energy with more heart. More heart. In the first half of the month, we're using a lot of Piscean energy, spirit energy, to just calm ourselves down, to integrate what happened in February. And then in this last part of the month, we're doing more of using heart energy to calm the fire. Can you feel that? So tap into your heart, give yourself a go light to love more and to take more action, and be aware that Aries energy can be very impulsive and can be very immature. It's the first sign in the zodiac. So be aware of what you're doing with your fire. And lean into that Mercury in Pisces to communicate with more wisdom, softness, awareness, caring, inclusiveness. March 21, Venus enters Aries. So now we've got this feminine energy going into the most masculine warrior chakra. It's kind of, if you take the sacral chakra and you put it into the solar, you're going to get steam. So what you're getting here is bold love, the ability to get bold with love, right? But you want to watch, remember, Venus is also about pleasure and spending and real world things too. Like she likes those things. So watch impulsive spending in the last third of the month. Okay. Watch that and channel that energy instead into love, whether it's even agape love of just all the people you love in your life. Get kind of bold with that. Think outside the box. Have fun. Find ways in this environment that we're in right now, this COVID environment, to really connect with your loved ones. March 28th is our last date. It's the full moon in Libra at 11:48 a.m. Pacific. So adjust for your place in the world. The axis here, we had that Virgo on the full moon, and in the end of February, we had the Virgo Pisces axis. Now we've got the Libra Aries axis. With this Libra moon, Aries is the sun. And it's very interesting because this is an other self balance. And since you're following me with the chakras, let me talk about chakras because this is a key one. It's the heart for Libra. It's the solar plexus for Aries. Whereas Pisces, I think people really enjoy the Pisces Virgo thing because you're talking about third eye and even a little crown, but very third eye for Pisces, way up in the spirit, in the higher self. And then you've got root for Virgo. So there's this huge expanse between the two. Whereas Libra and Aries, the chakra dynamic in this full moon is their neighbors. You've got the heart for Libra, the solar plexus for Aries. So this is the self and the other, self and other. So celebrate the Libra energy because the moon, we want to celebrate the full moon, celebrate the Libra energy, lean a little more toward the heart, toward how you can still be good to yourself and love yourself, but include others. Still, if you've tended in the past to give too much to others to where you were literally taking off parts of yourself, here, have a chunk of me, then use this full moon to celebrate self, to celebrate your boundaries, to celebrate saying no when you need to say no. Feel into that. So self and other is the thing to celebrate here. How is your balance between your solar plexus that honors the self and your heart chakra that honors your connection to everyone else, as well as your own connection to yourself, your own love of self? These two seem, and my guides really wanted me to point this out, they seem like a trade-off. But if you stop thinking that way, they don't have to be. Because really we're all connected. So when I take care of self in a way that's truly loving and not just, obviously there's a side that's narcissistic, there's a side that's over. But when I take care of myself in the most rudimentary, loving ways, I'm also taking care of my partner. I'm also taking care of my kids, right? Because you cannot give others what you don't have. So you need to fill your own well. So that Libra moon is going to be about you checking in, celebrating the balance that you're creating between taking care of self and others, and being able more and more to do both in a fluid way that isn't a duality, that isn't a competition. Notice for yourself if you're even thinking that way. My guides are telling me that right now, to ask you to notice for yourself if you're thinking in duality, because we are so connected in the big picture to others, and we need others. They need us, we need them for our own literal human health. It's the best sign of longevity is our human relationships. It's the best predictor of longevity is positive relationships. So really, it's something we need. And when we pit self, other, it creates an energy. Can you feel it? That's a tension versus self and other and self. Self is other is self. Self is separate, other is separate, and yet we are also connected. That is the K-O-A-N, the koan, the mystery of the divine. It doesn't go by logic, it goes by the all. We are both separate and one. Can you feel that? There's no problem. Only when you're in the logical world is there a problem with what I just said. But for God consciousness, for awareness, it's everything. So it's always an and it all exists at the same time. So that is your energy forecast for the month, but we do need to pick our cards. So I'm going to shuffle 3 times. Hope it's not too loud here. I'm going to shuffle 3 times the goddess deck, Doreen Virtue's goddess deck, and we're going to pick one goddess for the first part of the month, and we're going to pick another goddess for the second half of the month. Can you guys tell I'm not like a real professional reader? They always shuffle in such cool ways. They just kind of put them in their hands and do this little sliding shuffle thing that I'm not good at. Okay, so here we go. The first card, in fact, I'm going to put my glasses on, you guys, all right? So here we go. First card for the first half of March is Ooh, the High Priestess Dana. So this is about you having divine knowledge. This is so fitting for the Piscean energy. We are in Sun in Pisces, and we are integrating all that incredible upgrade information, because Aquarius is about information, that we got with that stellium in Aquarius in February. So Dana is perfect. And for me, she's got a stillness about her. So she's also reminding us that with awareness of the spiritual, with a certain dignity, we won't push ourselves. We'll allow ourselves the rest and integration we need so that we can move forward. So that feels very fitting with what we've already gone over. But now it just feels like we have Dana as this high priestess goddess to help us along the way. And then our second goddess card is White Terra, Sensitivity. Now, I love this as a contrast card. This is a reminder. And the card says you are becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. I did warn you that there could be some harsh energies at the second half, particularly the last third of the month. So our calling at that time is to go to White Terra and really feel into our sensitivity, own our sensitivity, so we can be aware of the sensitivity of those around us. So we can take on this go forward, because all the planets are direct right now, this go forward Aries energy, the energy of spring, without plowing over anything, without making it, immature, just, I'm not listening, I'm just going for it. Can you feel that? So Aries energy, if you watch my video about the weaknesses for each zodiac sign, you'll see that I give a remedy in each one. And the remedy for Aries is heart chakra work. And that's even the green card. You see the green card of they call it White Terra, but she's on a green card because she's all about heart and the sensitivity of the heart. And that's actually the medicine for too much fire, for too much Aries. So we could not have had more perfect cards today. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about March. I really enjoy fall too. So if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, enjoy the falling in. You actually have a perfect movement into, because fall begins a death cycle. And I really think right now we need to just allow what's come in the first part of this year already to be integrated. So I feel like talking about all this fire brought out my fire. I have a moon in Aries, and you guys know I'm just fiery by nature. And I hope this reading has served you well, and that you will keep the dates in mind. Pull out some candles, have some beautiful rituals at the full moons and the new moon, so that you can really work with the feminine moon cycles and tap into the power that's already all around you. It's going to be a month of root and third eye in the first part, heart and solar in the last part. Keep that in mind when you're doing your chakra work, and I will see you on the next video. Many blessings.